Hey, in this lesson, we are going to start writing some JavaScript code because I know that's what you're here for, to write JavaScript. And we're going to be bringing in an external file into this project, and this is going to be a regular JS file. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file and save this, and we're just going to call this as script. I'm saving it within the same folder that I've got my index.html file, and this will allow us to link to it. And you can also create a subfolder and link to that as well. And I'm just going to be calling it script.js. So it's just going to be a blank file for now, and for now it'll just have an alert just to make sure that everything is working properly, and it'll say hello HTML file. We're going to link out to the JS file, and the source is going to be script.js. That's the new file that we just created. So that's what we needed to do to bring the JS file into the project. And I'm going to use a feature within brackets to live preview the file. So this is only available within brackets. Otherwise, you can go and locate where your file is located and just open it up within the browser, and it's going to have the same effect. With brackets, we do get the HTTP local file. So it's going to make a difference with the web address. And this is just simply outputting the HTML into the browser, and we can see that that JavaScript file ran and it provided the hello message. And from now on, I'll just do a split screen so that we can see the project on the right-hand side in the browser being output. On the left-hand side, I'm going to open up the code editor. So shrink this down, minimize this so we can see both screens, so I don't have to flip back and forth as we go through the project. And we also want to add in a script tag, is load some JavaScript whenever the web page loads. And we're going to do this with an event listener on the document object. So whenever we want to interact with the DOM content, we want to make sure that the DOM content has loaded before we invoke or if we try to interact with any of the content within the web page. So that means that all of the web elements within our HTML are loaded and they're ready to go. So in order to ensure this, you can use a method called DOM content loaded event. So this is an event that can be fired off whenever the window object or the document object loads. It can run some JavaScript. So what I want you to do now is pause the video and add this into your project. And I'm going to show you the solution coming up. So all we're doing is adding it as an event listener. For now, we can just invoke an anonymous function that's going to log some content into the console. And that will also enable us to present the console that we're going to be using heavily in the upcoming lessons. So go ahead, pause the video and try this out, add it into the project, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to minimize the files on the left-hand side. We're going to do a document and then add an event listener. And the event listener that we're listening for is going to be DOM content loaded, just as we saw within the example. And then we're going to be invoking an anonymous function that's going to run whenever the DOM content is loaded. And for now, we can just do console log, and we'll output a message of ready within the console. So that means that whenever the web page, whenever all of the HTML is loaded and we're ready to go, then we're going to have console log output into the console. We're going to have ready output into the console. I'm going to as well hide the line numbers so we've got a little bit more space within the editor. And now let's try this out. So refresh the page. We've got the hello that runs. So this is something that we can remove now because we're not going to be needing that within the project. And then also opening up within inspect. So this is an option for Chrome that we've got access to the DevTools. And we saw earlier in the last lesson how we can access the DevTools. You should have ready sitting within your console whenever the page loads. And this gives us the flexibility to move the script tags up into the head as well. Since we're interacting with the elements on the page, we do want to make sure that all of the DOM content has loaded, and the DOM is short for Document Object Model, which represents all of the elements within the HTML page. And just as an addition to this lesson, for those of you that might not be using brackets, so you might not have access to the live preview, loading it within the local machine as HTTP object, you can also open it just as a regular HTML page in your browser, so just from your local directory. So I've got my directory open, I'm creating the courses in a folder called course, and I can open that up with Chrome, and then opening it in Chrome is going to run the HTML file within the browser. according to where it's located on my computer. And I can do the same thing where I can open up the dev tools and I can see the content is being output as ready. So that's an alternative option to open up the files if you're not using brackets, or if you're having some problems loading up the brackets local live preview, then you can just go ahead and open up the file within the directory wherever it's located on your computer.